Hey everyone, this collective guilt nonsense, yeah, it has got to stop. I don't know about you, but personally, I'm sick and tired of being held responsible for the actions of others, whether they're alive today or have long since passed. Whether you're talking about First Nations people and their grievances towards colonialism, or people that don't have white skin who seem to be the only ones on the entire planet who are oppressed, always at the hands of white people. And not white individuals that they can point to. No, white people, as in all of us. Meanwhile, like I say, when I do the reflection on how I've treated people throughout the course of my life, regardless of their skin color or what's between their legs, I can honestly say I have no guilt. I can be just as nice or harsh to people who share my skin color or who have different pigmentation. I believe in treating people as individuals. I don't fall for this kind of collective nonsense or collective guilt. I hang my head in shame at times by the very real fact that there are a lot of Canadians who are willing to go along with this collective guilt narrative that's been jammed down our throats and is now being ramped up. And it's not just coming from your typical mainstream media sources such as the CBC or CTV in Canada. No, it's even being pumped up by outlets who are trying to appeal to your children, to the young people among us. Yeah, they want to get them early so they can manipulate their minds enough to use them for political pawns in their ideological driven endeavors. Headline out of Teen Vogue, How White People Can Hold Each Other Accountable to Stop Institutional Racism. You can and should help. This was contributed by Ellie Belly, August 2nd, 2019. During the second round of Democratic debates on July 31st, as the topic turned to race and the criminal justice system in America, presidential candidate Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, Democrat of New York, explained why it's her responsibility, as well as the responsibility of other white people, to discuss institutional racism. Gillibrand spoke openly about how she and fellow white people can and should use their white privilege to educate other white people, many of whom voted for Donald Trump. Once again, as a white person, as a white middle-aged male that's heterosexual, I'm still waiting for all this privilege. And I've been waiting my whole life. Don't know when I'm going to see it, feel it, or experience it, but apparently it's coming my way. I'm not holding my breath. Among other things, Gillibrand mentioned that niceness and not talking about it is not the answer to racial inequality. Gillibrand, like many white people since 2016, has recognized her unique and privileged position within political conversations and the world at large, and highlighted that it's her responsibility to explain white privilege and institutional racism to fellow white women who have a history of upholding white supremacy. This sounds like a personal issue for this Gillibrand here. But I guess that's the thing. For these people such as this Gillibrand, who does apparently, self-admittedly, have this privilege. I don't know if it's based on her skin color, but hey, I'm just going to go by what she's saying here. She's saying that she is a very privileged white woman. Well, that's the point where she should be doing her own self-reflection and not trying to project her own privilege onto everyone else, in particular, white women, as she's trying to do in this article. And what's with the white women upholding white supremacy? Like, hey, normally they're going after typical middle-aged or older white men such as myself, right? But now, as you can see, they're including white women. And they're not saying older white women, they're saying white women in general. So as a generalized statement, what the author of this article is suggesting that if you're white and a woman, you're upholding white supremacy. Shame on you. Now, if I were a white woman, I'd consider that quite the insult. One way to explain it, she said, is to get personal. When their son is walking down a street with a bag of M&Ms in his pocket, wearing a hoodie, his whiteness is what protects him from not being shot. Holy... When their child has a car that breaks down and he knocks on someone's door for help and the door opens and the help is given, it's his whiteness that protects him from being shot. Jesus Christ. This person, I mean, think about the way this person is thinking. I mean, think about how that kind of nonsense is running through her head. It's everything is solely based on the pigmentation of your skin. No other reason. A person will either help or not help you based solely on your skin color. That is the world that she tries to pretend that actually exists. You know yourself, that is not the reality that most of us actually experience. Which once again tells you that projection is definitely being used in this article. And this woman seems to have a few skeletons in the old closet. While white allyship, and the responsible use of white privilege has always been important, many have stressed the need for white people to actively practice anti-racism and be allies since 2016. There are lots of ways that white people can use our privilege and make life less frustrating and dangerous for black people and people of color. Because, like Gillibrand said, it shouldn't always be the responsibility of black people and people of color to educate white people on how they are being racist. Here are some necessary steps that we should all take to fight racism and spread positive change. Once again, the paternalistic nature of these elitists, like these are the people, like I say, that really do represent that elitist racist mentality. She is exuding everything that she pretends to stand against. But I mean, come on, do paint all black people or people of color in some nice little categorical box or compartmentalize them entirely so that they all think the same way, are on the same economic level, intellectual level? You know, what are they, all poor? All black people are poor, are they? Or all black people X, whatever you want to describe them as? Gillibrand? Is that what you're suggesting here? Seems like it is to me. Anyways, folks, I'll place a link to this article in the description of the video below. But this is Teen Vogue. This is a magazine for teenagers, particularly girls. Obviously, not too many guys, I would assume. Although, hey, things do change these days. But I would imagine it's still predominantly consumed by young girls or females. And that's the message that society, or your thought leaders, I shouldn't say society, but your thought leaders, or these leftist elitists, because I'm pretty sure that these people, oh yeah, that's right too, yeah, she's a Democrat. So these left-leaning elitists have nothing but disdain, insults, derision, and finger-wagging to use against you. It's nonstop derision and insults as far as the eye can see. That is what the left truly represents these days. They're trying to affect your psychology, your self-esteem, and your independence. And as I've seen out there, a lot of people seem to be willing to roll over their independence, their own critical thinking skills, for a sense of belonging to the collective or the tribe. Well, let me tell you, at some point in time, the people that talk like this, I mean, you can join them and think that you're going to benefit yourself or society in some way, but it won't take too awfully long before you come to realize that these are the people who represent everything that is wrong with society. Maybe I shouldn't give them too much credit and say everything, but they're definitely at the forefront of causing the kind of division that is so rampant today. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.